Let's rank the top 10 prospects in the Mets system for the 2026 season. Me and James talk about prospects all the time, so if you like that kind of stuff, make sure you are subscribed to Mets'd so you don't miss out on that content. Shout out to everybody listening as well, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. James, I got my list of 10. You got your list of 10. We're just honorable mentions at the end? Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah, I think honorable mentions at the end, because that's when, the people are going to want to hear the niche thoughts about non-top 10 prospects. Also, just starting into this is our 5th year doing Mets'd Up. We've been doing top 10 Mets prospect lists a few times a year during that time. So cool to see where this system has gone from where it was when we started doing this show. The fact that we have talent up and down the boards. Tough honorable mentions I had to cut out, which is, again, I think one of the first times ever happened. So proud of the Mets that we have this farm system together. A great thing that happened for them this season while a lot of other things went poorly. Also, just a quick word right now. Usually for this list that Mark and I do, we only do non-debuted prospects. But for this, just because we want to catch some other guys who are going to start the year in the minor leagues, that's our expectation. If you're starting the year in the minor leagues, you can make this list. And if you've played in the major leagues, but you're starting the year in the minor leagues, I included you. But
yeah, normally we don't do that.
Normally we don't do that. So we don't want Nolan McLean will not be on this list, but Brandon Sproat and Jonah Tong will be on this list.
That's basically what we're telling you.
Yes,
this,
that's
that
it.
We're still going to rank these guys because they have such few amount of innings, and their spot on the major league roster is still a little bit murky. So start off at number 10, James. Do we work down? How do we normally do this?
We usually start at 10 and go back from there.
Is that the right move? We want to do that?
I think so.
All
Who's
right.
your number 10?
Elian Pena.
Okay.
What about you?
He was my first honorable mention. Mine is Will Watson.
Okay, yeah. I went Elian Pena. That's so funny. Our last guy, I go hitter,
Flip.
You go pitcher, as always. Classic.
Love
But
it.
for me, Elian Pena, like his numbers were just really good in DSL. I think the ceiling is lower than what people probably expected on a guy like Pena. Not to say that his ceiling isn't good. I still think the ceiling can be a very, very productive player for the Mets in the near future. Well, near future being like 4 years from now when he's like 21 maybe. But what we saw him do at the minor league level, pretty good. Like he had a 400 on base percentage. He had a bunch of home runs. I think he hit 9 home runs in his small sample size.
He did,
the
50
OPS,
games.
The OPS was pretty high. I don't think he's going to be a shortstop, which is why I can't really put him much higher. But I do think he can still be a very much plus bat for this Mets organization in 4 or 5 years on one of the corners or maybe even second base. And I don't think that's a problem. I think sometimes with prospects, we get a little bit too worried about if they play that premium position, and we could lose sight.
Okay, so that was one of the main reasons I left him off my top 10, because I just need to see a guy like Elian Pena where there's so much unknown. I need to see you hit against more advanced pitching. Like, to me, the bonus Elian Pena got, the prestige, the mystique that he has, he should have gone to the DSL and ripped it to shreds. Like, that was like the first box to check that we can actually expect major league production from him in the future. And it's also cool to note with Elian Pena that he went 9 games in the DSL, 34 plate appearances, 26 at-bats, did not have a hit.
Yes, he did struggle
at
points.
And then from that point, once he got his first hit, I want to get the stats here quickly just because they're so obscene and ridiculous to read out. From when he got that first hit, he hit 340 going after that. He had more walks than strikeouts, and it kind of all clicked for them. But he just missed my list. Will Watson was my number 10.
He was an honorable mention for me.
It's been a few years in the making with Will Watson where when the Mets drafted him basically just for fastball release traits, he's got that nice low slot fastball we talk about a lot in this channel, and he gets on hitters fast. The fastball didn't really perform super well for him in the lower minors. I got a stat from Aaron Layton on here from Just Baseball that apparently the fastball had almost a 50% hard hit rate against and under 8% swing strike rate. So I think that's definitely a concern, but something that happens with some of these low slot four-seam fastball guys, you can struggle sometimes to build repertoires off that. It's hard sometimes to get differences of pitches, horizontal movement off when you have a vertical approach. And he developed a plus slider, hard pitch, sits in the high 80s. He has a good changeup now that gets the lefties. And per Baseball Prospectus, he had a passable changeup that's relatively new. Okay. So the fact that we have all that stuff off that, we got to probably see maybe his fastball locations as happening. I know his command has been a work in progress as well, but having the fastball with those specs and now having 3 true secondary pitches, I like him as a good bet to just be a major league starter, which is kind of what my line was for him making my top 10. And what we get past that is gravy to me.
Which, by the way, most systems, this would be a huge piece for them, being like, we're going to have a major league starter. So it is pretty sick.
It wasn't super high draft pick.
Pretty sick for the Mets to be like, Will Watson, you're like a borderline top 10 guy in our system, and we're pretty confident you're going to be a major league pitcher. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely the kind of guy, too, that probably gets tangled in trade stuff. Yes. That's kind of what it is here. And to me, like, there's still multiple other tiers of Mets pitching prospects inside of my top 10.
Of course. Number 9, James, who do you got?
This is a weird one for me. Eli Serrano.
Ooh, interesting. I did not have him on my list. I know he struggled mightily in Brooklyn, but that's the weird lefty in Brooklyn type thing.
That's what I'm saying. I kind of watched the way the lefty in Brooklyn thing, just the way that he looks so much bigger. I watched some videos of him swinging since he got drafted when he was NC State. He was kind of a wiry dude. Looks like dude's put on a ton of mass, and that's a good thing for a guy like Eli Serrano. And while he's put on that mass, that will always affect your swing mechanics. While it's affecting swing mechanics, his contact rate is still high. And the small exit velocity stuff I could find, people said the hard hit rate was good.
That's good.
So right there, the fact that we know how much Brooklyn eats lefties alive, that wind blowing it off the Atlantic Ocean, it kills you over there in my Maimonides Park, if that's still the name what it is. And the fact he's a lefty bat, the fact that he has a cannon for an arm, I think that Eli Serrano looks like a pretty, again, high likelihood, strong side platoon corner outfielder, which is a nice thing in the back of a top 10 assistant.
Yeah, we've had some people tell us great things about Eli Serrano, so someone
For
that
sure.
we're definitely going to keep an eye on. I went Jonathan Santucci. To me, like, I hate to be boring, but for me, like, from this spot on, I felt like all these guys were also kind of the same 9 guys that everyone in baseball is talking about. And with Santucci, who I'm sure is going to be a little bit higher on your list, no, he didn't make it.
He was one of my honorable
I'm
mentions.
shocked.
I mean, he's a little bit behind Will Watson for me. Where, like, there was my 9 and 10, Serrano and Watson, with some of my honorable mentions were kind of their own tier. Because I like to tier this, and I'll tell you guys how I'm tiering these prospects as we go through. And then I had Santucci, another honorable mention, just a tier below them. I need to see the third pitch for a lefty like him. I need to see that changeup.
Fair.
And he had the changeup in college. It had decent fade on it, but we really haven't seen much of that coming through the minors yet, and there's a lot to build on with his fastball and slider, but without that meaningful third pitch, the stats are great, but that has to happen for him to get over that hump to actually be a major league starter. So until I see that, I can't put him above a guy like Watson.
Yeah, I just like that the K rate was pretty high, like it was near 30%, especially when we got to Double A. It got even higher, I think, and the walk rate was relatively handleable. I think it was like 8-9% when he got up to Double A. Stuff that I like to see from my pitchers, and like you said, good stuff. Would like to see, though, that changeup make a little bit more of a prominent appearance for him in his repertoire.
Yeah, totally. I feel like just now that he's in the upper levels, like now he made 10 starts at Double A and he still ripped them up.
Yes.
But I would like to see. I want to see now is you gotta just get that third pitch ready to go.
Also,
Because Double A major league hitters, big difference.
Feels like he's another just dangle for trades
Yes.
guy.
And a guy like him, like your slider's that good, like you could tear apart the minor
Yes.
leagues. But like once you get to the advanced hitters, you just need new feels. But number 8, one of my favorite guys on the list. I wanted to find a way to push him up, but I just couldn't because of how great the depth is that we have in like this tier. And this is new tier now. Jack Wenzel.
Same spot for me at number 8. Same reasoning. I
dude.
couldn't put him higher than the other guys, but I really like Jack Wenninger, and people around baseball really like him too. He's a borderline top 100 prospect. The K rate, K minus.
He's in Baseball Prospectus top 100.
There we go.
Sure.
Ball knowers. K minus walk rate is one of the highest in all of minor leagues last year. Throws a ton of strikes, gets a ton of whiffs, all things that you'd like. And it feels like not the similar-ish, because I'm not comparing him to Jonah Tong. They're not really similar. But like the idea of like kind of make something out of nothing. And this could be a guy who could be one of the top pitching prospects in baseball by the end of 2026.
Oh, if we were just scouting stat lines, we're looking at, ERAs, strikeout rates, walk rates. Like, he actually is one of the best pitching prospects in baseball. And something cool about Wenninger, I talk about this every time we do this prospect stuff. These cold weather guys, when they wind up coming into a system, get much more, many more opportunities, just literally throw baseballs in like environments conducive to training and development, like you get a lot better. And Wenninger, another thing I like about Wenninger, dude's built like a horse.
Yes, big dude.
6'4", 215. He put up 135 Double A innings this year.
That's awesome.
135 Double A innings is sick. And now we have good fastballs from him. We have a legit slider, a super legit splitter. There was a great tweet by, again, Aaron Layton, does great prospect work, where he had, I don't remember if this was in the playoffs. I think it actually was in the championship series in Double A, which Binghamton won. Shout out to Binghamton Rumble Ponies champions. He came up against Kevin McGonigal, who's one of probably the second best prospect in baseball, third if you want to nitpick right now. And he had him go ready in this playoff matchup. 2 gyro sliders backdoor to start the at-bat, and then ripped a splitter. Aaron called it a changeup. Other people call it a splitter. But the pitch had tons of fade on it, like right in that same tunnel as those sliders that nick the corner, and then whoosh, fade off it. McGonigal looked puzzled after that.
Yeah.
With a good fastball, it's gaining velocity, with a sinker as well. Like, the way I see a guy like this getting better year over year, I love that. I like seeing upward trajectory, and Wenninger has it.
I think Wenninger looks like could be one of the top guys in this system by the end of the year, and someone who has been linked in trade talks. And I think even in the past I've been like, trade him. But as the days go on, I got to see what that big name is that we'd get for him, because I think it does have to be a big name.
Yeah, he's the one I'm I'm keeping over Santucci and Watson,
Yes.
obviously, because I rank them ahead of them right now. And again, I love sometimes size matters, and just being 6'4", 220 is like that's sick for a pitcher.
Yeah, it's huge. It helps for durability as well.
That you could get more innings on that. Who's your number 7?
Jacob Reimer.
Okay.
Jacob Reimer at number 7. Third base, first base, not really sure necessarily where it's going to be his defensive home, but he just mashes. He just absolutely mashes. Every level he's been at, all this guy does is hit. And last season, he was phenomenal. Got up to Double-A as well. Like, just a really good overall year from Reimer. And someone who, shout out him, fan of Giraffe Neck Mark. That's always going to get you a couple extra bonus points too.
I ranked Reimer a little bit higher. Kind of the most excited I've been about Reimer since we've started doing these lists. Last year, he played 61 games at Double-A Binghamton, had a 150 WRC plus, 280, 370, 480 triple slash, 9 homers with 10% walk and 24% strikeout. Again, everything there is super in line, but he did that at 21 years old.
Very young.
Usually, age to level, for a lot of scouts talk about this, that Sarah's talked about this a lot in the Rates and Barrels podcast too. You could basically give 25 points of WRC plus for every year you are below the average age at the level. Average age at Double-A is about 23.
So that would be like 200 WRC
200
plus.
WRC plus.
Yeah.
Like that's stupid. And like it looks like he's good enough to like be okay at third base.
Yeah.
Like he's got a cannon, so it's like if you could be passable there, even if you have to move to first,
Maybe corner outfield, maybe just
it looks like a masher. I don't think he can move, so I don't know if he's corner outfield. I don't think he's fleet of foot, but this looks like a guy that
former shortstop.
I mean, aren't they all? So is Mark Vientos. This looks like a dude who just looks like he's ready to rip. But he's a little higher on mine.
Who'd you have at number 7?
This is Ryan Clifford.
Ah, okay, I have Clifford higher on mine.
Yeah, I think that might have been a flip-flop for 2 of us there. But Clifford, like, dude, sick last year AAA.
So
I'll wait till you talk about him higher on your list to give some of the AAA underlying stats because this guy is nasty.
It's like, again, I hate saying the comp that I always say, but it's like Lucas Duda. Like, what if
It's souped up Lucas
what if
Duda.
Lucas Duda was like sexy as a baseball like prospect? That's kind of what it feels like to me with Ryan Clifford. So, yeah, Clifford's a little bit higher on mine. All right, that was your number 7. Number 6, who you got?
Number 6, it seems like he's a bit of a faller, but I do think it's a bit about just where the Mets system is. It's Brandon Sproat.
Yep, that was my number 6 as well.
Nice. Hive mind working out. Again, all these guys are in the same tier. Wettinger, Clifford, Sproat, and the next guy. But just there's so many things that Sproat does so well as a pitcher, like the things that made me fall in love with him on this show 2 years ago, where you got big velocity and there's tremendous feel of breaking balls for a guy that's a relatively young pitcher, even though Brandon Sproat's like kind of old now for being a prospect, but just we haven't seen the changeup, and we know last year from what happened in the major leagues, there's no swing and miss on that fastball. So you're just walking a tightrope with Brandon Sproat. I think there's room for him to develop, and the velocity and the breaking balls are a great place to start, but we need that floor of the changeup to come back. I don't know where it's gone. He had in the low minors too. It went away. That coming back would do big things for him because with the fastball doesn't miss bats. Need something for those lefties, and we need that changeup for them.
Really interested to see what Justin Willard could do with him. That's going to be a fun one because while we've applauded the Mets,
he's the trade.
We've applauded the Mets minor leagues for pitching development, and obviously Brandon Sproat's a big part of that. Now we got to see what these guys can get better at the major league level. Obviously, Noel McLean's been a little bit different than everybody else, but like Tong and Sproat, who we'll mention Tong a little bit later, we're going to see major league development now. We need to see how the organization functions at the major league level, how much better they can make those guys. Something that you saw great from the Tampa Bay Rays of the past, you're seeing it now with the Marlins. How can you get the most out of these 4A players currently where they stand?
Yes, I think also a big part of this, we pour one out for Jeremy Hefner at the beginning of the offseason. We know we've hired Justin Willard. We've talked about a lot in this show. It looks like he's going to be able to do great things. With hiring Justin Willard, his assistant pitching coach will be Dan McKinney, who's been the Double-A pitching coach. I think he might have been a minor league pitching coordinator. He served one of those 2 roles in the past. I'm sorry to Dan for missing that. But now he's going to be the assistant pitching coach on the staff. So I think it's a really good thing. Mets have aligned their staff really well, where Willard's coming in, and he's a freak of nature. The guy's a genius. Yeah. But just not having the experience with these players, the fact that his right-hand man is a guy who we know can relate to these players because he's been relating to these players for years. He's probably been a decent reason why a lot of these guys have become the players they've been for the last few years. So it's nice as we're graduating a lot of these pitching prospects to the major leagues at the same time. Boom. There's your guy that was helping you out in the minor leagues. I think that's a nice touch by the Mets this offseason.
I also think Sproat's going to actually have a huge impact on this major league team as like the swing man in the bullpen. I just can see him in like a little 2-inning role and just come out and throw 100. And that's like kind of your thing. And I think that's really valuable and something that we've seen David Stern's teams do in the past with young pitchers.
Yep. Freddie Peralta, of course. Corbin Burns. I think there's
Brandon Woodruff.
Yes. I think there's a good little through line there for him.
We're at number 5, top 5 now.
Yeah, top 5.
Top 5, I've got A.J. Ewing at number 5.
Okay, nice. This is Ryan Jacob Reimer.
Okay, yeah. So we can skip over Reimer. We already talked about him. He's great.
Monster.
A.J. Ewing has been kind of the biggest riser, like outside of like Carson Benge, but we all know that one. In terms of like going from relatively unknown to where he's at now, A.J. Ewing, the strides that he made in the past year are huge. And
Massive.
I remember when we drafted him a few years ago, this is one of the guys that we had circled because this was a guy that we took a little bit later in the draft. We were able to steal away from college, right?
Yeah, we were.
And we gave him a little extra money, but it was like, okay, like the Mets clearly see something here because you wouldn't just pay this guy. And all the numbers look great. We have some StatCast stuff too. He's a freak athlete. Seems like he can play center field. Like this is a really fun prospect and a guy that, again, I think his ceiling's been a little bit higher than where we once thought, especially now getting some of those exit velos and stuff behind the scenes. But at the like absolute worst, again, it looks like it's going to be a good, solid center fielder.
Totally. And I think that I have him a little bit higher, actually, another tier up, A.J. Ewing, just because there seems to be a lot of upside left in that defense that the Mets still think they're probably coaxing out of him. And if you get that, like I think A.J. Ewing right now, we'll talk about it a little more as we move forward, but I guess I'll just say it now because he's my number 4.
Okay, yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Yeah, knowing that he has 112 mile an hour max exit velocity that he had this year, I believe in Double A or was Brooklyn. One of the two, that's amazing. The fact that you have that, he doesn't lift the ball very much. So that's something that's going to stop the game power. I don't know where that ever winds up. Like I don't know if A.J. Ewing ever even hit 16 home runs in the Major League season, truthfully. But if he could be a true elite defensive center fielder, if he can be like a plus guy out there, and he's fast enough, and he's still learning the position. He still played a bunch of second bases here. It seems like he's decent enough at that too, which is like hilarious versatility for a guy like him. But if you can actually get to himself, which a lot of people think is on this trajectory, being a plus defensive center fielder, if you have 15 home runs and 30 doubles and 9 triples, suddenly that's what you get yourself to 110 WRC plus, 320 on base percentage, 110.
It's like a 3-4 win player for you.
That's what I'm saying. You if that happens, like all of a sudden, this is approaching a top tier prospect. The guy who 100%. Like I think he could be approaching by midseason this year, like top 50s on some list, top 40s. He might even be getting near there on his own right. There's a lot of good stuff here. I love when a guy like A.J. Ewing, who's a better athlete than everyone in the field in the minor leagues, just steals every base he can.
He's like, I can do this because you can't get me.
That's a fun thing to watch.
All right, my number 4 was Ryan Clifford. You wanted to know the reasons why. The reasons I put it there. 1, just the proximity to the major leagues. I think he's super close. I think with a strong start to AAA, there's a chance, especially if Vientos doesn't hit or whatever the offense looks like, I think there's a chance we could see Clifford at the major league level this year, maybe even as early as June. While the average is going to be low, again, this is why I keep saying the Lucas Duda thing. He gets on base a ton. He's extremely selective at the plate, maybe too selective. That would be like, seems to be the one kind of knock on Clifford is maybe a little too selective because when he does make contact, he absolutely obliterates baseballs. He hits the ball so damn hard. He had 29 home runs last year between AA and AAA. Even in AAA where he like struggled more so as a 21-year-old, which again, he's going to be 22 next season. That's absolutely insane. Sometimes we get a little prospect fatigue. I feel like it's happened a bit with Clifford. Still had a 359 on base in the 35 games that he played in AAA last year as a 21-year-old with guys throwing junk, with guys who were trying to make it to the majors one stop away. I think that's really, really encouraging for Clifford.
Oh, very. And the same rule we just applied to Jacob Reimer in AA, we could apply it with an extra 25 WRC plus points in AAA, and we got to get ourselves to almost a 220 WRC plus there. And that, to me, is ridiculous. And the advanced stats in AAA, too, were even better than what he actually did. Like a 750 OPS, high walk rate, average strikeout rate. Like, okay, that's nice. He had over a 50% hard hit rate. He was in like the 95th percentile of every type of exit velocity you want. Max, average, 90th percentile, 50th percentile. Like he hits the crap out of the ball. Elite at lifting his pulled fly balls, at pulling his fly balls, although I said the same thing twice in a row. And for a guy who doesn't swing as often as some other hitters, very high zone contact rate.
Yes.
So he does pick the right pitches to swing at when he does decide to swing, and he's that good at getting the bat on the ball, and he still doesn't swing and miss a lot for his power. And I heard something else through the grapevine that has me really deep on Clifford here.
Ooh.
Again, shout out the guy's baseball prospectus. Apparently he had LASIK surgery or some kind of eye procedure.
That's huge.
At some point last year. Now he's just seeing things.
Yeah, that's insanely big. Imagine not being able to see the baseball 100% and trying to hit it. Baseball is impossible to begin with.
Yeah, so there's a lot of upshine Clifford. I just have him a little bit further down again in that tier with Reimer, Wenninger, and Sproat because as a first baseman, there's a much bigger of a hurdle you have to climb to be a major league regular.
Yeah,
as a lefty, though, it helps.
He's got to be an elite hitter, and I low-key think that's why they didn't sign Pete Alonso.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
We'll see what happens next few months.
Next, we got we're up to number 3 now, right?
Number
3, Jett Williams for me.
same exact thing. We're going to be chalk from this point on.
I believe so, yeah. Jett 3, let's talk about him briefly. I think we're also getting a little prospect fatigue with him, too. Is that fair to say? Just because we've been hearing his name forever and he hasn't ascended as fast as the other guys. But truthfully, like, Jett does everything that you'd want out of a top prospect.
No, he definitely does. And I think also with Jett, there was a bad month plus at AAA last year, and that also was kind of dulling his shine. But when he was at AA, he was like kind of unstoppable. Yeah. He's someone who's very patient against minor league pitching, and he's one where I'm curious of how that patience adapts to major league pitching, because a guy like Jett, if he gets bombarded in the zone and that walk rate doesn't come with him to the majors, and that seemed like something that might have happened to AAA, that's something that's concerning. I'm also just, in general baseball, Jett Williams is very valuable because I think he can be a shortstop. Like, I actually think he has defensive chops to stick a shortstop. For the Mets, that changes things because that's not going to happen. So how good does your bat have to be to just carry a second baseman, we think is plus? Can you play center field? That's still something that's up in the air with Jett. I still think there's good. He just seems like a rock solid Major League Baseball player, like a roster guy. I'm still just curious about how much higher he can go.
That's the big thing, is what is a ceiling on a guy like Jett Williams, where, like, he has good power numbers. It's not like they're bad, but, like, does he hit does he hit more than 20 homers in a season? Maybe not.
And it's also the thing with Jett, you never want to do this, but you kind of have to nitpick at this spot when we get to these guys. There's just not that many players in Major League Baseball look like Jett Williams. Like, you always like to talk about, like, the smaller players with the punchy archetype, the Corbin Carroll versus Alec Thomas. Like, that's kind of the range of outcomes there. And then also you get to, like, Slade DeBruyne, who was just traded in the Shane Baz trade. Like, that's that kind of, like, whippy, punchy short guy. That's not really Jett. Jett has more of, like, a strong build. Like, he's got the fire hydrant, like they like to say. Dilson Herrera, but a little bit more beef on him. And there's still...
Don't say that, Dave.
But I'm just saying, like, he hits the ball hard. He doesn't swing out of the strike zone, but he also just doesn't swing that much. He pulls his fly balls. Like, there's still definitely a step to go with Jett Williams, but
for him to get to that next level, because I think we're confident he's going to be a pretty good MLB player.
But I'll also tell you this with Jett Williams: I think a lot of people are souring on him because of prospect fatigue, like you've said. If he went to college, he'd be into the draft this year.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Like, he just turned 22.
Yeah, he's so young. He's so good.
Like, his same birthday as my mom. Wow, that's crazy.
Wow, shout out James' mom.
November 3rd. That's crazy. But yeah, he still has to get over a hump, but I still like him as a player, as floor-wise.
Number 2, Jonah Tong.
Jonah Tong.
Yeah, so, again, to take what Joe DeMeo DM'd me that one time, if he never made an appearance in Major League Baseball, he would be one of the most untouchable prospects in the entire farm system. He's probably still is one of the most untouchable prospects in the entire farm system, but I don't think Mets fans would be as willing to trade him as they are publicly, which also doesn't matter. But, I mean, he was rocking like a 40% K rate in the minors. The stuff's unbelievable. He's got one of the most unique arm angles that we've seen. He throws basically almost from the left. He almost throws lefty because he's so far over the top right-handed. The fastball's good. The changeup's ridiculous. He needs that third pitch. That's what's going to be the difference between what we saw from Jonah Tong last year and being a true. And I think if he gets a slider, he'll just be an ace. I really do think so.
No, he's someone right now who's on such a seesaw because what he has now is good. It's like, when we saw him last year, there were some moments where he looked amazing. There were some moments he looked terrible. It did feel like the hitters could play a cat and mouse with him, where they could kind of just sit fastball. It's not easy to catch up to, but if you know it's coming, it's easier to catch up to. He still struck out a quarter of the batters he faced when he kind of only had one true weapon against them.
Like, but he had 2 pitches.
But it is just going to be curious with his arm angle, with the lift he gets on his fastball, what that next pitch could be. Like, we see this with
curveball, right?
He has the curveball, but it's obvious. Yeah. It's almost like too much vertical separation. It's too crazy there. It's like it's almost a 20-mile-an-hour difference. Like, they spot the thing out instantly. He's great with the changeup. We see Trey Savage with the split. We see also Trey Savage with the backward slider. The few slides that Jonah Tong threw actually did have some glove side movement, but they just weren't really good. Like, this is good. You talk about the pitching lab. This is when the pitching lab is walking out to the mound like Edwin Diaz with the trumpets. Like, this is when the pitching lab earned his money right now. Because Jonah Tong, you could see a world where he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. You can see a world where he can't really elevate himself past like a 3-4.
Well, it's like he's right now he's stuck in, like, again, that 4A thing that we've seen with some top prospects on the hitting side when they've come up, where you're way too good for AAA. You have conquered it. It's over. There's nothing else that you need to do there. But at the major league level, you just might not have that pitch recognition. You might not have the discipline. You might not be able to square the ball up because it moves a little faster, moves a little bit more. For Tong right now, it's all the guys in AAA can't touch you. They never will. It's over. The guys at the major league level will just sit fastball, and because they're the best players in the entire planet.
I wonder if there's any kind of, I don't know, carryover effect, like translation here to the way that Freddie Peralta broke into the league 6-7 years ago now, where
Sure there is.
Fastball Freddie, that was it. Extension Freddie, fastballs to catch up to it. But eventually hitters kind of knew that was coming. And Freddie Peralta's command, I think when he broke through, was even, I think, significantly worse than Jonah Tong's was. And we just saw him at, again, 22, 21 years old when he made his debut at the end of last season. He was 22 when he debuted.
He's a baby.
Through 18 and 2/3 innings. And if it did take Freddie Peralta a few years, and he even didn't develop the full repertoire until this past year.
Yeah.
He was 6 years in the show. Like, it just takes a while sometimes. But that fastball is not... You can't really teach what Jonah Tong can do with that fastball. So it's still just, it's such an amazing place to start.
And I can't wait to cherry pick on this stat here, but it's like, of those 18 innings, I'd say like 13 of them were pretty good, and he just had like
One was
5
bad.
blow-up innings.
And then also there was the thing where like the Cincinnati game was the home runs getting the best of him. And like not, I mean, again, some of those were pissed on, but some of them were not. Like it was, this is also our baby boy. Like we're going to protect him.
This is our fucking boy.
I love this dude. I'm going to keep him safe next year. And if you guys call me biased, I don't care because I'm keeping him safe.
Mets'd was hip to Jonah Tong before Jonah Tong was hip to Jonah Tong.
We mentioned Jonah Tong. I think the first episode we did a media marvel when I was in Morocco when Jose Buto had that great start against Coloragans in April of 2024. I think that was the first Jonah Tong mention. Good times. But again, because it was a Buster only tweet that messed up no pitching prospects. That one came to a head now very quickly, and then we on that one. But it's honestly kind of scary to have this kind of tantalizing of a prospect where the ceiling is so high and the floor is like kind of low.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch.
But if anybody, I trust the guy who's kind of done it already, like kind of been a little freak. Like he's developed so much already. I trust him that he's gonna be able to do it again.
Totally, and the attitude seems impeccable, and you have to be ready and willing to fail to get to this point in life and anything anyway. For Jonah Tong to reach the major leagues as a 6 foot tall, 180-pound string bean from Canada who loves grilled cheese and maple syrup together because he's a freak. But like this,
hey,
you like
good
it too.
combination.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was Yaya, right?
Yeah, it was Yaya.
My bad. Hand. I'm sorry. But my her lemon potato recipe, nothing better. But
so good.
I can't wait to watch Jonah Tong this year, but also it might not click this year, and it might not click next year. Also, if it clicked, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm good to be patient. I got
So
no
patient.
I got
Ready
no
to go.
problem being patient with him because again, the ceiling's so good. Number 1, Carson Benge.
Carson Benge.
I mean, he's one of the 5 best prospects in baseball by some people's accounts.
Yeah, 7, 8. I'm doing some more prospect stuff too on my channel now. I'm putting him ahead of JJ Weatherholt. I think he's actually a lot better than him.
Yeah.
After digging into things, but I don't think that's consensus right now. And last year he struggled a lot in AAA. Like the surface stats were quite bad. At the same time, he ricocheted through 3 levels last year, a year out of college. So I don't really. And also leaving college early, and he's like 24 games. Sure, hit terrible, a $180 average. You seen the Carson Benge advanced stats in AAA?
They're phenomenal.
Unbelievable. He was hitting the crap out of the ball. We have 110.5 max EV, and again, that was only in 30 games, so it's a good chance we get a higher one there, especially when you consider the fact that his 50th percentile exit velocity was 94th percentile, his 90th percent was his 84th percentile, high barrel rate, 54% hard hit rate with a 180 batting average. I would go postal if that was me at the plate. Like, I'd freak out.
Are you kidding me? How is this happening?
Especially when I'm not swinging and missing. I'm making contact in the zone. I'm not striking out. Like, that sucks.
That's the difference. Is like you could be like, I understand how Joey Gallo hits 180 because he doesn't hit the ball very often. Carson Benge puts the ball in play consistently.
Tons of contact.
Yeah.
And he's a little bit more passive. And he also still not pulling the fly balls. But there are so many tools in this toolbox that really might not matter. Especially that we're getting the murmurs. I mean, talk about like what we've been able to get out of David Stearns this offseason.
He said he's got a shot at opening day. That's the craziest thing David Stearns has said as a Met president.
He said that in November. Like, I was like, what? Like, and he started last year in Brooklyn. Like, he played 60 games in Brooklyn. He only played 30 games at Binghamton. And he had a 180 WRC plus.
It's ridiculous.
He destroyed that level. One of the 10 best prospects in baseball. Good testament to like what this regime is doing. Getting a guy like Carson Benge, who was a good college player, well-rounded guy, had some flaws, was a two-way player. Focus up on the bat, and now it's just boom, out of a cannon. This guy could be I still see Carson Benge throwing around trade proposals, and I have to emphasize this. This guy is untouchable.
Yeah,
untouchable.
No shot.
A lefty bat, possible slightly above average defensive center fielder with power. Crazy speed, too. His speed grades in AAA was like 90th percentile as well.
Yeah, no, he's an incredible athlete.
Unbelievable.
I legitimately don't know who the Mets, what would the Mets move him? Who would be a player you'd move him for?
Hunter Green?
Yeah, like that's kind of it, right? In terms of
Yeah.
realistic players that could ever even slightly be available. Like, yeah, take him for Shohei Ohtani, of course. Like
This is gonna sound like I don't even think you put him up for like Jose Ramirez.
it's a close one. I mean, Jose Ramirez's contract, that's what plays into this.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking about. Your best contracts list from the windup. That's where I'm going in my head right now. This guy might be like he might be special, and even if he's not special, the chance of him being like well above average are really high.
And it's not that we wouldn't take Jose Ramirez. It's just
No,
the
that's not what I'm
contract.
saying.
It's all
Yeah,
contract play.
It's the contract, it's the age, it's all that stuff put together. Of course,
But-
he's not better than Jose Ramirez. That's not
Of
what
course not. Yeah, but Carson Benge has the ability to be a special player. And again, for David Stearns to mention opening day murmurings in November, it seems like every time he brings up Carson Benge unprompted. It feels like, honestly, he might really like this guy. Might see something. I'd like to see what Carson Benge can do for the New York Mets, and I got an inkling that he is going to be on the opening day roster.
I do too. The one thing you do worry about though, like just young guy like this, like a lot of pressure to be here opening day when there could be a slightly hostile environment, but like pressure makes diamonds.
I am thinking about the pressure that Noel McClain and Carson Benge could be under this season.
Again, possible. But I guess, again, I mean, there is going to be a lot on those guys' shoulders based on the way this offseason's gone so far. Maybe none of it was happened by the time this goes out. Tell me your honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions, Chris Suero. I think just the fact that he did so well in the Arizona Fall League, as well as he had a great season, just someone to mention. I think especially the Mets sending him out there, too. They wanted to see a little bit more of him, and I think he impressed. And then on the pitching side, I've mentioned it before, but that Douglas Oriana guy, as well as Ryan Lambert and Dylan Ross, I think all three of those guys are going to have big impacts in the Mets bullpen this season.
Yeah, I love the Suero mention. I had him on mine, too. Just looks like a super-duper athlete. And
Can play everywhere. That's valuable.
And we have advanced staff from the Arizona Fall League. If you guys missed that episode about a month and a half ago, 75-mile-an-hour average swing speed, 112.5 max exit velocity. Right
really
there, boom, that's a plus power guy. That's a guy who could probably hit 25 home runs with a full season of playing time. And we'll see where the defensive home winds up. Like, he's fast enough for you. Like, imagine if he can even get passable in center field. Like, that'd be freaky.
If he could catch some innings, it would give Francisco Alvarez a bump. Would be sick.
I wanted to give a shout to Mitch Voigt as well, our first round pick from this past season. I got a couple great notes here. One from our guy, Michael Donadeo, Baseball Prospectus, and MJD Stats. I've shouted him out a lot in the show. He's doing prospect work for Baseball Prospectus now. Big swing change with Mitch Voigt. Big swing change. Mitch Voigt had a bit of a more subtle leg kick and stride when he came to the Mets. All of a sudden, midway through, only playing a handful of games last year with St. Lucie, dude was kicking his leg in the air and swinging for jacks. And
I like it.
People were still into Mitch Voigt in college. Like I have another write-up here from Tyler Jennings of I think he's Prospects Live, said that he tickled the 115-mile-per-hour barrier when he was in college, and he had a 13% strikeout rate and a over 15% walk rate as when his last year in Michigan. And again, some rumblings, moving to shortstop might be nasty there.
Hey, listen, that would be huge. That would be huge.
Keep that. That's the kind of thing where if he hits for power next season, like into next season with Brooklyn, and he's playing good shortstop, you got George Lombard.
Also, keep an eye out for R.J. Gordon. He did some good stuff too last year.
Yeah, so many pitchers are going to pop up out of nowhere with this team.
I can't wait to find out who the new guys are going to be during the season.
When we do this update mid-season July, we might have to do top 15 prospects. There's so many guys now.
But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to Mets'd Up on YouTube, as well as if you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
I'm Giraffe Neck Mark. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Let's go Mets.